Hey, what's up guys? It's Texuber talking to you here, and this is another car review. This is the Mercedes GLC 400e. In my opinion, is the best plug-in hybrid car you can buy in 2024. I've been driving it for about 1500 kilometers and has been my daily driver for that amount of time. And it's actually a great car. It's a perfect fusion between the electric engine and the gasoline engine. Gives you the freedom of having the gasoline network for you, but also gives you the economy and of course the best parts of having an electric car. So today I'm going to review this car, show you its best quirks and features, and of course tell you what is the best option for most people. Plug-in hybrid cars, electric cars, or maybe just the good old gasoline engine. Drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, let's get started. Mercedes actually did a great job building this car. This is a very heavy SUV, but it also has insane electric range and also features a gasoline motor, which is the best part about this car. This weighs around 2400 kilos and it has around 130 kilometers of range, which means it has a 31 kilowatt battery inside. For a plug-in hybrid, that's huge, and that's probably one of the biggest in the business. Yes, you can probably buy any type of plug-in hybrid car with this amount of electric range and battery size. This is almost the same battery size as those old Nissan Leafs, which is kind of crazy, but that's one of the reasons that this car weighs so much. 2400 kilos, it's an insane weight for this type of sized car. But it's the price you pay for having a very comfortable SUV that can ride over bumps, you don't feel anything. The ride here is really good. It's also the price you pay for having 130 kilometers of electric range, and is also the price that you pay for having a Mercedes this well built with amazing materials. But don't forget, this is an electric car, so it has an electric motor. I think it's around 140 horsepower, and of course it also has a gasoline engine. This gasoline engine has around 250 horsepower. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and it produces enough power for the size of this car. No, it does not feel super powerful and torquey, but it can do 0 to 100 in around 5.6 seconds. I don't know if you can still see me, it's getting dark outside, but I'll try to launch control this car. It's not fast, it's like 5.6 seconds, 0 to 100, and you kind of lose traction. It's not a car made to launch control, obviously. Well, but it gives you that heart pump, it gives you that adrenaline rush that you want. So I would say it's not the best car to do so, but it accomplishes everything that you want to do. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's not its purpose. Again, it's a plug-in hybrid family car, but you can have some fun on it. And as you saw, it's plenty enough. And for most overtakings in everyday life, this will be plenty enough. But this car is not about power, it's not about performance. No, this car is about day-to-day life. It's about efficiency, it's about comfort, the ride, the suspension, everything is tuned in to be a very comfortable car. Driving the Mercedes GLC, it's an interesting thing because, oh yeah, this very annoying pop-up. Again guys, beginning of the driving part of this video, turn off all of the warning measures, especially if you are in the EU. You have this button on the screen that you can turn on, obviously, the speed warning, and of course, you also have a quick action button that you can turn off the automatic steering, so it will keep you in between the lanes. Both of those things are very annoying, and I would like to turn them off as soon as I enter the car. You cannot keep it off for ever. Every time you enter the car and turn it off, the car will obviously turn them on again. This is EU regulation, so you cannot escape that. But like I was saying, driving this car, it's a mixture of emotions. This is an electric car at first, and then it's a gasoline engine. But it has dual personalities, and it's interesting to analyze that because whenever you are driving on an electric motor, this car is super silent. It's super comfortable to drive on. It's a different experience. It's so relaxing. And then you decide, oh yeah, now I'm going to drive on a hooligan mode, and then you turn on the gasoline engine, and it's a completely different personality, a completely different car. It makes noise, lots of noise, and it's different. But between that, you have the hybrid mode. The hybrid mode will be a mixture of both. The car will make suggestions, and it will actually turn on the gasoline engine whenever it thinks it's more efficient or whenever it thinks you are running low on the electric car. But here's the thing, it's an electric car first. So even when you are using the hybrid mode, the car will always give priority to the electric motor. So it's an interesting balance between all of these. The computer of the car does a very good one, a very good job balancing these two motors, and it actually creates a very efficient car. For my 1500 kilometers that I did with this car, if I go in to check my actual fuel economy, it's 1.6 liters per 100 kilometers. That's insane for a car that weighs almost 2.5 tons, and it's a big SUV. That's something that you cannot get on a pure gasoline engine car, pure combustion car, even diesel cars even. So yeah, of course I also have 87% of electric driving, but that's the thing that I want to say to you. Whenever you have such a big of a battery on a plug-in hybrid, most of the time, I wouldn't say all the time, you are actually driving with your electric motor, which is really important. As you can see, the front of this car, something that I've been battling out in the last couple of weeks. It looks good, it's aggressive, but there's something about this that looks too bubbly for me. It's aggressive, it is, but I don't know, maybe these lines right here, or even this swooping line right here being too bubbly, it should be a little bit more sharp. I understand why they did it. They needed to improve the efficiency of this car. Again, this is very heavy, 2400 kilos, it's too heavy for an SUV of this size. And so to combat that, they made the lines smoother, so the air flows through. The obvious, of course, increases range and gives you better autonomy, especially on the electric motor. On the gasoline engine, makes almost no difference. This spends around 7 liters to 100 kilometers only using the gasoline motor. If you go for the electric car, you can get around 100 kilometers of electric range. So I understand why they did it. Still, I think it looks too smooth, especially for this aggressive of design and this aggressive of SUV. I like these lines right here. These sharp lines give it a more aggressive look. They should have done it better and more of these, especially here. I think this part right here, it's too smooth. I like it to be a bit sharper. They had these models with, I think it was the GLE from the last generation, that had this sharp front. If they had it right here, it would be better. And if they put the grille a bit more indented in the front, it would also look a tiny bit better. As for this chrome bit right here, you can black them out. They would probably look more aggressive down the line, but it's your choice. Again, the grille could be a bit more indented, less bubbly look. I understand why they give this bubbly look. And of course, I like to have that Mercedes-Benz design right there. I think that this logo looks good, but having the top design would be also pretty cool. Back down, you can take a look. You have also a spoiler that it's quite aggressive, but this car, these vents are pretty much fake. They open up and close whenever you need because of the electric car. Whenever you have the electric motor working, they are closed, so the air does not need to flow through the gasoline engine. Whenever you turn on the engine, they will open up. So yeah, great design from Mercedes. The headlights are really good. These are laser digital light from Mercedes, so they project things on the road if you want to. They have these high beams that whenever you pass through a car, they turn off the serious section where the car is passing through. So this is really high tech, and they are really good. So yeah, I think they are an amazing job from Mercedes. I would like to see a bit sharper lines on the front. Rather, if you took a look at the back, you will see some differences. As for the back design of this car, as you can see, looks much better than the front in my opinion. It's sharper, it's more aggressive, and looks much better. Especially this swooping line right here. I think this is the best part of this car, because this is a coupe again. This is an SUV that is also a coupe. Gives you a different look on the back, especially when compared to the normal SUV version. I think it looks way more aggressive, way sportier, and I think younger especially. So it's a quite cool car from the back. But again, I think these little touches, like this line right here on the boot, or even these air intakes, and right here, and the exhausts, make this car look more aggressive. One thing that I don't like is this plastic thing, bumper on the back. You can hear it, complete plastic, on a $100,000 car. Why Mercedes? Why? But all the lines on the back look really good. Even the LED design, I think, looks incredible. These LEDs, again, are also amazing. So, very high-tech car. But even these LED design right here are amazing. One thing that I would like to see would be pretty cool would be these two LEDs to expand through the back, through right here, and make it just one line. You see this on the Audis, you see these on the Porsches, especially on the Porsche Macan. Looks incredible, and I like to see it right here. The boot space, well, this is quite a problem. Take a look. If I open it up, because this is an electric car, again, it's full of recording equipment, because this is an electric car, the boot space is not the best, especially with having an SUV coupe, so you have less boot space, which is not ideal. But because it's also a plug-in hybrid, the batteries sit below your boot, which means you have a very shallow boot. It's a longer boot than most cars. Yes, this is a very, very long car. It's I think 4 meters and 80 centimeters, around there. It's very, very long. But again, you still don't have that big of a boot. So it's very, very, very deep, but it's shallow. It does not go down because you have the batteries down there. And that's a big, big issue for the Mercedes GLC. As for the overall capacity, it's around 470 liters. So it's actually not that big. It might look big, it's not actually that big. But you have several things that I like. For example, you can stop the boot opening up in whichever position you want. You just simply click this stop button for a few seconds and it will remember the position that you want to open it and it will stop in that position. This is a very, very high-tech car that I will show you later, especially in the inside. But little quirks like this button, being able to stop the boot in whichever position you want and remembering it for next time if your garage does not actually allow your boot to open up 100%. These little quirks are very, very cool for having a Mercedes and just makes the experience that much better. And of course, you can also open up this boot with your feet. So if you have your hands full and whichever happens a lots of time whenever you go shopping, you want to open the boot, just put your feet right there. Let's see if it works. Now it's not working. There you go. And it opens up, which is quite cool and gives you lots of different options to open the boot. Again, this is a very, very high-tech car and Mercedes knows how to build very, very good quality day-to-day life cars. You also have pinpoints right there to pinpoint your shopping bags. You can drop the seats from the front right here and it will give you more capacity. And one thing you can also do is lower the suspension. So if I click this button right here, it will start to lower the suspension of the car, which is air suspension. It will give you an easier time dropping the bags and put them in, which is also a very, very important thing whenever you are carrying very heavy bags. You can probably tell it has dropped the suspension a little bit. It's not like a huge difference, but if you are using the car and you are actually day-to-day life this car, you will notice that and you'll be thankful for that. They will, after you close the boot, I think these will raise up, or whenever you start the car, they will raise up again. So yes, these little quirks and features make this car a very, very good daily driver. Of course, again, GLC 400e. This means that it's the gasoline version with a 2-liter gasoline engine, again, 250 horsepower, and the E means that you have an electric motor to assist. In total, you have around 349 horsepower, 350 horsepower with this car. Quite fast, quite powerful, but again, 0 to 100 in around 5.6 seconds. So the overall torque and the overall acceleration, it's still average, I would say. As for the side profile of this car, I think it was really well conceived by Mercedes. It looks aggressive enough, but it also looks sporty and muscular enough. It has these swooping lines that you can notice from here, to around half of the side of the door. It also has these crossbars right there at the bottom. And these ones are an extra that you pay for, but I think gives a different look to the Mercedes, a more sporty look to the Mercedes. They help you out to climb on the car. Let me see if I can show you. They can help you out if you have trouble, but I wouldn't trust them. They are flimsy enough for me to have some trust issues, but I think they are pretty okay if you are especially a child that needs help climbing up on this car. It's not a high car, especially if you drop down the suspension. The wheels are big, and I think I love these wheels. They are painted out black. This is an option that you can have, but they have this quirk feature right here that is quite cool on Mercedes, that they leave this side of the wheel, so the curb side of the wheel, they leave it on silver, which means that you can curb here right here and they won't notice it that much, and they don't ruin your paint, your black paint. This is a cool feature on Mercedes that I think I would like to see in more cars. And then again, these are huge tires. Insane. I think they are 22s. I'm not sure, but I think they are quite big. I think they are 21s or 22s. They are very, very big tires with big wheels like this, and a big muscular look makes this car look very, very sporty, especially for, again, a plug-in hybrid, a plug-in hybrid SUV that should be more for families, less than a muscular look. But as you can see, you can make it look very, very muscular and very, very sporty. Moving up to the sides, this has tons of tech. You have lots of cameras right here, you have LEDs right here, and you also have a blind spot meter right here that will help you out. It's a sensor that actually notifies you whenever someone is in your blind spot, and it's very helpful. Also, whenever you are driving this car and you signal an overtaking, especially on the highway, if it detects another car that is coming by with the cameras, it will beep at you and it won't let you do the overtaking. So that's a very, very cool feature. And that's just another feature on top of all the measures that Mercedes takes to make this car secure. But I will show you those whenever I go inside and show you all the tech inside of this car. Of course, when I'm driving, I will also be able to show you all the safety measures that Mercedes takes to make this car one of the safest on the roads. This is probably one of the safest cars that I felt whenever I was driving it. All the assistance that it gives you, all the help that it gives you with its cameras, with its sensors, it's quite insane. But moving on, this couldn't be a Mercedes video without showing you the closing of the door. This is a very, very important measure to show if the car is well built or not. I think this car sounds good when closing its doors. Gives you this little thunk that very, very premium. Listen to this. Quite good. The doors are heavy and they are good enough to manage. But again, this is a Mercedes. I wasn't expecting less than that. Right here, you also have the fuel tank. Right now, oh, this is the charging port. Right now the car is closed. Yeah, this is the charging port. It charges at 11 kilowatts. That's the fastest speed. Only on AC charging, no DC fast charging for this car. And you also have the gasoline tank on the other side that I cannot show you. So yes, let's drive this car and talk about how it is driving it. Before I drove this car, I had an Audi A5, and that car was really low to the ground, this low center of gravity, and it was really tough. The suspension was really tough. It was a very sporty car, nonetheless. While the Mercedes, it's a family car. It's comfortable, the suspension is very cushioned, and then over bumps, it's super comfortable. On the highway, you don't hear one thing. As you can see, currently, on the road driving, the isolation is really, really good. And especially on electric mode, you can't hear a thing. And that's a good thing about this car. One downside of having such of, I would say, a plush car is that whenever you want to do a sporty driving, whenever you do dynamics, it's a very heavy car. It weighs 2.4 tons, and so on the curves, it's not the best performing car. But whenever you buy these types of cars, you're probably not looking for a performance car, right? So it's not an issue over there. Again, you have the two modes that you can drive, the two main modes, which are the electric mode and the hybrid mode. These modes are really important and you need to master these modes, especially the electric mode. You have around 100 kilometers of range on the battery. Driving an electric car comes with all the benefits of having an electric car. So it's cheap to run, especially if you charge it at home, which you can do with this car. And I would advise you to, because charging AC on the streets is not good. But the thing is, this is the electric motor. You have also a gasoline engine. And the gasoline engine works in conjunction with the electric motor on the hybrid mode to give you the best fuel economy possible while giving the freedom of having the gasoline infrastructure. So I would say that this is the best of the both worlds. You have all the benefits of having the gasoline engine, you have all the benefits of having the electric motor, and somewhere they cancel out each other's not so good points. But that's when the benefits ends, because then you have the electric engine with only 100 kilometers of range. And whenever that range depletes, it means you need to turn on the gasoline engine. And whenever you do, then it will start spending more. So yeah, I've been doing the review. I've been driving for around 1 hour and 18 minutes, as you can see, and 40 kilometers done. Between all of those gasoline accelerations and driving around on electric mode, I managed to do 1.8 liters to 100 kilometers with 89% of my driving being made on electric. Of course, all of those accelerations, the 0 to 100 test, it does not help with fuel economy, but obviously, as you can see, still 1.8 liters to 100 kilometers with 40 kilometers driven and 1 hour and 19 minutes with an average of electric motor of 23.7. So you can see, a very, very fuel efficient car that is also cheap to drive on electric mode. I will put it on hybrid mode. Currently, I'm using only like 0 to 100 kilometers because, again, driving electric. And driving electric, it does around 27 kilowatts per 100 kilometers. But putting on the hybrid mode, now it will start to work in conjunction with the two engines. So currently now using the electric motor because I'm only doing 50 kilometers per hour, which is the allowing speed limit here. But if I punch it a bit, as you can hear, it will turn on the gasoline engine at around 2000 RPMs. And here, the gasoline engine has lots more punch. It's a lot faster, a lot torquier, and gives you this noise that you are not used to when driving an electric car. But again, if you start driving it a bit slower, then the hybrid system will turn on again. The electric motor currently is warming up the gasoline engine because it was turned off for a longer period of time. It will make all the adjustments that it thinks it needs for the health of the engine, and so it will keep your electric engine, your electric battery, your electric motor, and your gasoline engine healthy for long periods of time. This is probably the best mode if you are driving 200-300 kilometers per day because it will save you the most amount of fuel. It will conjunction together the electric motor and the gasoline engine to create the best experience with the most fuel economy on this car. As for the interior of the car, it's really well made. It's a Mercedes after all. You have several bits that give away the high quality and premium feel of this car. Everything is made of leather, everything is made of high premium materials. Of course, you have tons of space. Here in the center console, it's quite big, and if you open it up, you have lots of space, of course. You have 2 cup holders, 1 wireless charger for your phone, 1 USB-C port, and you can close it up, all made of carbon fiber. You have the option to put carbon fiber. This one does not have it. It's a fake carbon fiber. But again, everything is leather. It's really well made and of course high quality. The vents are really cool, and if you are inside of this car, everything feels really premium. Even the steering wheel feels thick, feels premium, feels soft and comfortable to use day-to-day life. One thing that is quite weird, and it's quite a gimmick, is these stalks. These stalks are right here, where you normally have the windscreen wipers, which is quite weird and a funny quirk to learn whenever you start driving these type of cars. After like 1500 kilometers that I've driven on this car, now I'm completely used to it, and whenever I drive other types of cars, I just keep turning on the windscreen wipers because I want to move forward or backwards. Yes, your, let's say, transmission is right here. You can put it on drive, up, put it on reverse and neutral, and of course click the button, turn on the park option. You have 2 screens. You have the main screen, which is a touch screen, portrait, orientation, beautiful, MBUX is incredible, super technological, and you have your driver's display, which you can change, and you have your steering wheel controls. These are very advanced displays, very high-tech car. Of course, you have this also roof ceiling that is automatic. You can swipe open, swipe down, you can open it up even further. Several options. You also have SOS, Mercedes Me. You have the A Mercedes prompt, so you can ask and it will actually talk to you, just like Siri. You have several buttons here. You have the dynamic button. You can turn on the cameras. It will show you the cameras. You can turn on the charging state of the car. You can turn on your car settings, the 4 wipers. You have a fingerprint reader. It's really cool because this will enable you to switch between users. So you have several users. You can switch them between your fingerprint. This is very useful for me. It's incredible. Whenever you enter your car, requires your fingerprint to enter your use. So whenever you use your fingerprint, it will turn on your car settings, it will turn on your seat settings, it will have memory for that, all the positions that you want to use, and of course it will also enable you to use CarPlay and all of your contacts, email lists and apps. This is a very advanced car, and of course it's a very good day-to-day life car. You also have lots of space on the sides, fits lots of stuff. You have a huge space on the middle, more USB-C ports, and yeah, everything is made of leather. The seats are heated and cooled, so it's a very good system. It also has a Bowers & Wilkins speaker system. I think this is the base speaker system, not the upgraded version, but it's also really good. And yeah, the interior of this car is very high tech. Diving deeper on this main display of the car, it's a touchscreen display, and as you can see, you have MBUX. This is a very advanced car menu software system. As you can see, you have several options. You have the apps, the store, the comfort. If you click on the comfort, you can change any type of seat setting if you want, the ambient lighting if you want. Here you can customize your position of the seats. But you can also make it automatic. So imagine if you have 1 meter and 90 centimeters and you click start positioning, it will start move the seat down and backwards. As you can see, try to adjust to the position of driving for 1 meter and 90 centimeters tall, and it's done. You can probably tell it's too big for me because I'm not that tall. If I go back here to the screen, put it 1 meter and 70 centimeters, start positioning, and again, it's adjusting itself to match my driver's position. And I can really tell you that it's really accurate. For me, this is almost perfect. And then of course you have the scenario of the benches. This is for your sound system and all of that. It's really advanced right here. Going back, you also have the phone, the radio, and the media, and the routines. The routines are really cool because you can create shortcuts, can create routines that will start whenever some action is activated. It's really cool, and you can create a routine. I'll just show you. Start, you add a condition. It's almost like maths. You add a condition, you add an action. So whenever this condition happens, this action triggers. So This is really, really cool. And Mercedes allows you to do that on a car. It's actually crazy. But again, in the last 1,500 kilometers that I've driven this car, I've not used it that much. Just day-to-day driving, it does not require this. But if you are a power user and you love to do routines on your phone, shortcuts, whatever, this is a really, really cool feature. The settings app, it's really, really detailed. You have the driver's assistance. You need to turn on the car to change that. And here you can see you have drivers, and then you have eco assistance, so it will improve your economy, all of that. Downhill speed regulation DSR. It will actually help you regulate your, let me just tell you. I have it turned off, but I think it allows you to regulate your speed whenever you're going downhill. Warning of collision. All of these systems are turned on by default. Assistant. This is for keeping your car in the lane. I don't like it. I turn it off whenever I start driving it, but it reads the signs also and allows you to, I don't know, help you to drive better, help you drive less with the speed limits and all of that. Reads the signs on the road. It's quite cool using the cameras, the camera options, and you also have the parking options. This car can park itself. How? Well, like I was telling you, you come right down here, click this button, it will open up the camera view. And here you have a 3D map system that you can move, as you can see, of the car. It is quite realistic. I think it looks quite cool. And yeah, you can change the front camera, the back camera, the side camera, the other side's camera. And whenever you are on these cameras, you can also move the car and see whatever you want to do. It's a very, very high-tech system. And yeah, if it finds a parking spot, you have the assistance of parking. If it finds a parking spot, it will show you right here or right here, and then it will start to park by itself. It does a really, really good job. Tried it once, tried it twice, never failed on me. So yes, it does it really, really well. In terms of autonomous driving features, that's it for this car. But again, this bird's eye view, it's one of the coolest features on this car, and that's why this car is so high-tech. Going back, you also have more options right here. The off-road option, because it's an SUV and it's a Mercedes, it gives you all the nerdy stuff about driving this car on an off-road position. Right now, as you can see, because I'm off-road, I don't know if you can see it, I'm off-road, a little bit of off-road. This car allows me to give all the information that I need. I'm currently 3% to the left and 4 degrees of inclination downwards. So gives you all that information. Also gives you how the suspension is working to balance the car. Also gives you your current position with the compass. Also gives you your tire pressure. Currently really good. You can change that for the engine data. So how much torque you are exerting, how much power you are exerting, and the position on the satellite if you want that, and the temperature of the tire. So yeah, lots and lots of settings. You also have the downhill speed warning. Like you can see, you can turn on the high hill for that. If you turn on all of these, you can raise up and raise down the suspension. Currently is raising up, raising down. You can turn on the stability control. And yeah, that's it for the off-road road. I never used it because this car, I only use it on the road. It's too expensive to drive outside of the road, but it's a really, really cool feature that I really enjoy on this SUV that is supposed to be to the road, but it's a really, really good off-road SUV if you want to. Of course, it's not T-based, it doesn't have any type of protection, so it will be an expensive hobby, but if you someday need to use it, it's capable of doing that. You also have the most important app of this car, and that's the hybrid app right here. You click it, it will take you to the hybrid selection of the car. It will show you the management of your battery, currently with 68% and 71 kilometers available, and it shows you right here on the flux of energy what's happening with the car, if it's using the engine, if it's charging the battery, if it's using the gasoline engine, what's happening with all of that. Shows you the vehicle settings, if I'm accelerating, if I'm braking, what's, again, the inclination, the degrees, to the left, to the side, to the right, to the upwards, downwards. You also have how much accelerating I'm doing, how much braking I'm doing, and of course, can change up the different types of regeneration. I leave it on auto. What does that mean? It means that whenever I'm driving, the car decides if it wants to regenerate by braking or if it wants to let it slide, and which type of regenerative braking will be more efficient. I love the auto setting. It's really smart and actually enables me to get way better fuel efficiency overall. And of course, you have the engine right here. It will give you all the statistics for your engine, how much torque, how much Newton meters you are exerting, what's the pressure, what's the temperature like, what's the oil temperature, how much power you are exerting in terms of kilowatts. And yeah, one thing that I like about this system is that you always have the climate control information at the bottom. Yes, I would prefer it to have physical buttons because again, much better. But It's really important that you always have this present, because whenever you want to change it, it's really easy. You just come here, touch it, and it changes quite fast. You also have all the options available, and if you click right here, you can access the menu of the quality control. Here you can change any type of the air condition, quality of the air. You can also check that. Currently saying that it's fresh air circulating, so fresh air I'm having on the car. And you can also pre-climate the car if you want to, any type of hour. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you about is the charging menu right here on the charging setting. Right here you can schedule chargings. You can create programs to charge your car at different times depending on which type of energy do you want to use, daytime energy, nighttime energy, because of the prices and stuff. I use it a lot whenever I'm in some place where I need to charge it during the night because it will be much cheaper. I simply come here, click here. These are the charging interruptions. It only charges between 2 a.m. and 9 a.m. Very, very weird, because it's kind of backwards. Again, he should be saying that you should only charge between these hours, not interrupting between the other schedule. It's like an inverse of the schedule. It's weird, I know, but it works, and I use it a lot. Other than that, this is the full menu. You always have your map system. This is based on Google Maps. It works quite well. You can change whatever you want to. Click here. You have the quick menus, the charging quick menus, the route quick menus, and here you can search for the route with the touchscreen. It's actually quite fast, so you can also dictate that. You also have the quick settings right here for your navigation system, and if you pull it down from there, it will open up more notifications. Click here, and then you have the quick settings for the car. This is very annoying. Turn it off. Every time they enter the car, click this button right there, and it will turn off this setting. This is the warning for the speed. If you are up from the speed limit, I think it's 10 kilometers, it will warn you. This is annoying. Turn it off every single time you enter the car. And this is the other one that I turn off. It's the assistance for the lane. It will keep you always inside of the lane, but it's kind of sensitive and I don't like it. You can also raise up the suspension there, and yeah, you can also turn on the chain for the snow whenever you want to. Parkatronic is the sensors for the parking system. Other than that, I think that's it. I think that this car is very complete. It has a very, very cool menu system that it's totally worth diving into. It's a very, very high-tech car. As for the driver's display, as you can see, is right there, and I think it's a pretty cool one. You can also change it using these buttons, and I will show you the different menus that you have. If I come here and I put it on, for example, right there, shows you how many miles or kilometers the car has, then shows you the map, shows you the music that is playing, nice music. It also shows you attention assist. This is quite weird, I don't use it, never. And this one is what you are doing, what you're spending. Then you can also change all of these using, I think, is this button right there. Yeah, you can also change what's the look of your display. You have several options. You have the sports option. This will give you different look with different stuff. Then you click the home menu again, which is this button right there. You click it, it will open up the menu. You can choose more. You can also have the maps, navigation system, full-on navigation system. This one is helpful. Then you have the assistance. This one, if you have a driver assistant display. I don't have any type of driver assistance tech right now on this car, at least autonomous assistance. Then you also have the off-road. This one should be useful for off-road driving. Never do it, so don't need it. As you can see, you always have present there how much range, in terms of electric range, do you have, and there how much gasoline engine left, how much gasoline do you have left on your tank. Always useful on an hybrid car to have that information. And finally, you have the service, which is if you are doing any type of service on this car. I never use it. It's kind of weird that it's there. It's probably for service techs. I always use the classic version. I think that's good. You have the speed right there, and you also have this one right here. This one is the most important one because you need to master this gauge right here. If I accelerate on the electric motor, this will go into power and this slider will go up. This will be always on 0 whenever the gasoline engine is turned off. Whenever it turns on, it will move between the rev range of 0 to 8,000 RPMs, which is the maximum, the red line of this car. Right here, you have the charging system. Sorry for the sun. Right here, you have the charging. This will indicate whenever the car is recuperating energy, whenever the car is sliding through. If it's at 0, it means, and you're not accelerating, of course, it means that the car is not charging and it's just gliding through the air. If it shows you a little blue bar going down the bottom, it means it's braking and it's recuperating the energy. Then right here, you have the gauge settings. Let me see if I can show you better. Right there, you have the gauge options. Right now is on park. You can go into reverse, neutral, and D. And then next to it, you have the electric mode, it means the mode that you are using right now. Currently is on electric. If I change it to hybrid, wait a second, now it's H from hybrid. And then if I change it to sport mode, to turn on gasoline engine, for example, sport mode turns on the gasoline engine. And yeah, then I can put it on battery individual. Currently, I think it's closer to sport mode. It's comfort and then hybrid. And then if I put it on electric, again, it'll turn on electric. Currently, it's burning through fuel, warming up the engine. And then battery hold will battery hold the battery. So if you want to keep the same state of charge for your trip, so 50%, you want to keep it always. The car will always keep it at 50%. This is interesting. And then off-road is obviously for off-road modes. Yeah, and that's it. Turn off the car right there. And that's the explanation. You have all these touchscreen modes right here on the steering wheel. The steering wheel, I think, looks pretty cool. You have the Mercedes logo right there. It's quite thick, quite heavy, but it's really, really comfortable to drive on. You have this cut bottom right here. It makes it look more sporty. I like it. As for being inside of this car, it's a Mercedes, so it's very, very comfortable with your head. It's really comfortable with the seats right there. It's all made of leather on the sides. The speaker system is really, really good. And yeah, it's a Mercedes after all. What can you ask more? That's the interior of this car. Yeah, it's a very, very high-tech car that is not easy to review, but I think I showed you most of bits. So let's keep driving. There are two things that I actually don't enjoy about this car, especially when you are driving on a hybrid mode. It's whenever you brake, because the brakes are very mushy. The brakes, because of the hybrid system, they are not the best, not even good in my opinion, because I think they are too mushy. What do I mean by this? Well, whenever you try to brake, the first 2-3 centimeters of the brake, so the first 2-3 seconds that you brake, it's the recuperation. So it's braking with the electric motor, not with your brakes. It's kind of weird to say it out loud, but it's how it works, and it's not comfortable. And in the beginning, it's very, very scary because you get the feeling that you are not braking and you won't be braking in time. After that, your brakes kick in and it actually brakes, which thankfully it brakes, but it's not a good experience. It's not refined enough. And I've seen it on BMW, I've seen it on Audis, but the best implementation that I've seen by far is by Porsche. So yes, this is not the best implementation. And then again, if you let go the gas pedal, it decides, do I want to let go and coast, or do I want to recuperate energy? And when it does recuperate energy, it's so weird because the car simply pushes the brake inwards. Like, it's like me pushing the brake, but I'm not pushing the brake. So the brake is going in, but I'm not touching it. And it's out of place. It's not the best experience, in my opinion. Something that Mercedes needs to work on, especially if they want to increase their electric car and their plug-in hybrid cars. Drivability and performance, especially performance. And talking about performance, obviously, how can you not talk about performance on a car that has 360 horsepower? If I put it on sport mode, the gasoline engine turns on, and what happens is quite funny. If I press down, kick down switch, you can hear both engines work in conjunction, and you just move and move. The gasoline engine sounds good, and especially the suspension toughens up, becomes firmer. I don't know if it lowers, I don't think it lowers, but it becomes firmer. The gasoline engine just kicks in, it revs at 4, 5, 6 RPM, and that's really good because it means that you have lots more torque. And the steering feels more heavy than before. Before, the steering feels really, really light, especially with your rear axis steering, which is a really cool feature of this car that I forgot to talk about until now. It allows you to be very nimble on the street. It's a really cool feature. But whenever you turn on sport mode, everything changes. The car becomes a different personality, becomes a different beast. And yeah, you have 360 horsepower, 350 around that to your disposal. And I think it's a really, really good idea from Mercedes, a really good implementation, having a sports mode that is actually powerful enough to deal with day-to-day situations. Again, this will be fuel efficient. No, it won't be fuel efficient. But that's not the point of the sport mode in any car. It's to be sporty. And on this, it actually accomplishes that. If I, again, floor it, the car, you will see that it will, again, ramp up both engines. You can hear it. And it's torquey enough, 0 to 100 in 5.6 seconds. You can hear the engine roaring. And that's a cool thing because it's a gasoline engine. And so if you can hear the roar, at least you think that you are driving fast. You can't, but at least you think you are. And it gives you a different sensation, gives you that driving feeling that we car lovers love. So yes, I think that the implementation of sport mode in this car could be better if they made the car lighter, but then it would compromise other stuff. The comfort of the car, the premium feeling of the car, and especially the electric range with the size of the battery. So yes, the gasoline engine again, it's punchy, it moves, but nothing special. And that's why, after driving this car for around 1500 kilometers, I can tell you that these types of cars, these plug-in hybrids, are the best options for most people. They have lots and lots of power. They are super efficient. They can overcome government regulations. They have all the benefits of electric cars, together with all the benefits of having gasoline engines, with the only payoff being they are a bit heavier than usual. And yeah, they might be a bit expensive in the beginning, so you pay more at front. But in the long term, if you drive them enough, they will be super efficient, especially if you drive them in town a lot, lots of electric range, lots of electric driving. Then these cars, we only actually need them to fill them up the tank twice in every 6 months, which is really, really good. And whenever you want to do longer trips, you're not tethered to electric charging stations, you're not tethered to anything. You're free to use the very well-established gasoline pumps. Let's just say that. That's why I think that plug-in hybrids are the future, or at least the short-term future of cars. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. This Mercedes GLC 400e is an example that I love. This is the perfect day-to-day life car in my opinion, and I haven't driven anyone that comes to match this one. Yes, because I've driven faster cars, more performing cars, Porsches, Audis, BMWs, that can make better turns, they have more performance, they are faster. But in day-to-day life, I haven't found a car better than this one. But let me know in the comments below what you think. Drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching another car review. Bye-bye.